You know what it is? It's the Basketball Card Strategy Show on the Sports Card Content Network, nooffseason.com. I'm Paul Hickey, and I've got my main man, Gary from hoopsandcards.com, joining me on the Basketball Card Strategy Show. It doesn't even really matter what episode it is, but technically it's episode 7. We're rocking this out pretty much every week now. Gary, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, Paul. Great to see you. Pumped up about talking basketball. Got a report that Golden State won the first preseason game in Japan about 2 hours ago.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. I love
Right?
that it's already the preseason and we've had media day last week and there's all these storylines, and you and I are getting out ahead of it because we DM'd each other and we're both on the same page. We're like, it's time to do a full episode of the Basketball Card Strategy Show and the Hoops and Cards podcast. That's an NBA preview time that we just go around the entire league and talk about the money play from each team and then the sneaky play / player to watch from each team. So that's what we're going to do today. I know you're prepared. I'm prepared. I'm probably not as prepared as you.
I don't know, man.
But there's one thing I wanted to address real quick before we jump in and do this epic episode that all of you are about to witness and be a part of. I think that you're about to start hearing other podcasts talk about the NBA much later than us. I think they're going to start talking about the NBA in maybe late October, early November. And in my opinion, that's way too late. It's September 30th today. We're doing our NBA preview today because basketball buying season is ending. I'm not sure if you agree with me on that, but I think it's coming to an end. I think you really need to make your plays now. And then it's time to start listing your cards during the preseason hype. Hopefully you listen to us on the Sports Card Content Network here on the feed, the Sports Card Strategy feed. And hopefully you bought in August. Gary was very, very adamant about being patient, buying in August. And then now it's the end of September, so it's probably ending. And that was when it was football hype season. And, let's quickly address why, right? So I think, and, I'll let you chime in here in a second, but I think that what I saw last year was a dip in December and January. So I think there's going to be a better time to buy in after the initial season tip-off, right? And so I think case in point, there's a lot of crossover between football and basketball cards. They're the two most popular sports, basically, especially in North America. And so I think you get a lot of people that invest and collect both basketball and football. And so right here in the feed, we told you to sell guys like Tua, Mac Jones, Trey Lance in August. Even guys like Trevor Lawrence are actually down across all their cards in spite of his good start. And the same thing happens in basketball. We saw Tua go down last night. Now, there's typically not injuries to that extreme and that frequency in the NBA. So it's a little bit safer, I think, to invest.
It was disgusting. Did you see
buy
the hit?
Late in basketball? I didn't see the hit, but I know we have to acknowledge it because it's a big deal in the sports card world. It's a big deal for a lot of people.
It's huge. It's huge. And I on our show at Hoops and Cards, sometimes in basketball off season, I've talked about investing in quarterbacks. And after week 2, I actually bought a Tua rookie, and I got a great deal on it. I don't regret it, but it was like that injury. First of all, just on a human level, he had an obvious concussion on Sunday in the game, and they misdiagnosed or at least covered some of that up so he could play. And that hit last night was disturbing, to say the least. Like, I felt nauseous for an hour after watching, and they played replay after replay. But you're absolutely right. It's a big impact on the card community and a reminder of what you're saying. Like, hey, in the lead up to the season, for the most part, there's excitement about the players. There's people buying that are moving towards that sport. And there's, I guess, less chance a guy is going to get out with a season-ending injury during the preseason. Like, often the team's goal is not to get Zion Williamson injured again before the tip-off, So it is, you're right, absolutely a better time to sell, but just before the season starts, because that's when everybody's ready to go.
Yeah, and I think that's when, like, you see a lot more coverage in the media about, it's media day for a reason, right? I mean, that's to get the media excited about the season, to give them access to the players, all the storylines. We got stuff. We won't spend too much time on this. We're going to jump right into what we got going around. We're going to try to get through all 30 teams, but there's storylines everywhere. So the point is, it's basketball hype season is upon us, and it's time to make your plays. Don't wait too late. All right, Gary, I'm ready to jump in if you are. The way that I wanted to do this is I wanted to start in the Eastern Conference and go through every team in the East in the order of the top of the regular season standings, and then go down to the bottom of the Eastern Conference regular season standings. So we've got about an hour today. We'd sometimes go a little bit over. We'll try to get through all 30 teams, but we're at least going to get through the East, and then wherever we leave off, we'll pick back up next episode and do the rest of the league. So, how does that sound to you? Okay,
let's rock.
Maybe we can alternate teams then.
Okay.
So I'll let you kind of queue up Miami and Boston here. I'll go first with Miami, and then I think the way that we should do this is just agree or disagree and add context to the other people's plays. Feel free to chime in with whatever you want. I think there's some that I feel stronger about than others, so I'll talk more about those than others, and the ones that I just feel are pretty straightforward, I'm going to kind of say it and then have it be a quick hit and we'll move on. So, all right, real quick. My money play in Miami, there's going to be a money play and then a sneaky play / player to watch for each team. So my money play is Tyler Hero. And this is because he's over 574 cards, according to marketmoversapp.com. He's down 41% in the last 365 days, but his sales volume is up 70%. So that means that, some cards are up, some cards are down, but if you want to pick a card that's down 77% from last year, his 2019 Optic Base BGS 9.5 is down 77%. It's only $7.50 right now. So I'm not super high on Tyler Hero, but because we're going around the league, my money play in Miami, if you want to make money, is Tyler Hero and that particular card. And I think what's interesting is I'm not going to have a whole ton of these, but my sneaky player to watch, I don't love the Miami Heat, so I'm going super deep with this one. It's Nicola Yovich, the 19-year-old 27th overall draft.
He's got the name, right? He's got the name down.
He's got the name down. This is not the Joker, but he's got the there might be some crossover.
It's the Jover.
Crossover. Yeah. He's the Jover. In maybe some inadvertent crossover misspellings in the eBay searches drive his prices up. I don't know. I'm joking, but he's 6'11", 223, 19 years old. There are some rookie cards. There are not many that are investable yet, but I would keep an eye out for that guy in the future. So that's my Miami Heat. You want to give me your Miami Heat, and then I'll let you lead off with the Boston Celtics. How does that sound?
I appreciate your Tyler Hero pick and your reasoning behind it. Like with guys like him, I have had to detox from the NBA fan in me that kind of clouds a lot of my opinions on cards and look more at the market. And like him or not, Tyler Hero has been a popular play for 2 or 3 years, and people have, recognized his scoring potential. And he was one of those first names in 2019 to pop and get playing time and score a lot of points. So people bought in, and it drove his value. Like there was a while when Tyler Hero was one of the hottest names in basketball card prospecting. Like it for a while. If you remember this, like it was Zion, Ja, and then Tyler Hero's name was like third on a lot of people's lips. And as a basketball fan and a guy that follows the NBA, I was like, what? I'm not crazy about him or his game. And I don't know if Miami is either. Like they benched him for a chunk of the playoffs for Max Strus, a guy that does other things than just jack up threes and get hot at the right time or the wrong time. And I don't know if that meant some inner conflict with the team or what Tyler was doing or not doing for them. But I agree. I think it helps to look at the stats. Like you said, the volume of cards that have been sold, the percentage that he's down, 70+%. So I'm not against your pick, and it makes sense. As far as you want to hear like my money play?
Money play in Miami. What do you got?
Yeah, my money plays at times are going to be less risky, okay,
Yep.
and less short-term flippy. I think every time I see Jimmy Butler's card values, I'm like, why is that guy so cheap? Why are they so affordable? And some of that's the up and downs of the market. In fact, we did an episode a few days ago about just planning the next 6 months of your NBA buying and selling, because there'll be times, like you said, right after the beginning of the season when card values will go down again. So there'll be seasons and times. I don't know if you can hear the blender. My wife is blending a smoothie upstairs.
Sounds great. Sounds
I don't know if it picks up some background noise. Maybe she disagrees with my Jimmy Butler take, and she's just, but I love Jimmy Butler as a short-term and long-term investment. And I saw one of the guys in the Discord group was selling a raw Jimmy Butler 2012 Prism. So that's the iconic set. It looked raw and centered to me for $25. And I'm like, I messaged him right away because I thought I could send that to PSA and get a 9 at least. But yeah, Jimmy Butler. And then my sleeper or my obscure pick, if you have Jovic or Yovich, I've got Max Strus.
Okay, I love
his rookies are harder to find. And again, I saw a lot from him in the playoffs, and so did Miami, as a player who could do a lot of things. And as a guy who was a clutch shooter, I think they were like, look, we're going to play a guy that's shooter, but he's also tough on defense, does all the little things. And maybe they were trying to get Tyler to realize his place in the world. Like, dude, you are not, you are not the next whatever he thinks he is. Maybe he's Vashawn Leonard, a guy that can score a lot of points, but has to get better.
Minnesota. Watched him a lot against Michigan State when I was growing up. I like Vashawn Leonard, great college.
Right? So I guess that says how old I am, right? But not that Hero doesn't have an upside. So yeah, I hope that made sense on him. I see the point of investing in him. I don't love him as a player. But
Jimmy Butler and Max Strus, I love it. Gary goes deep, and that's what we do on the Basketball Card Strategy Show, because there's all kinds of ways to make money. The 26-year-old undrafted second-year player from DePaul, Max Strus.
Yeah.
All right, Gary, who's your money guy for the Boston Celtics?
Boston Celtics. So my money guy, I have to go with Jaylen Brown.
All right.
It feels like Tatum is the obvious answer, and that's not wrong. But Jaylen Brown, because he's not 2 or sidekick. He's like 1A. And if you remember last season, Jaylen came out of the gate smoking hot, averaging 30 a game for the first month or 2 of the season. I just see there's a reason they didn't trade him in the offseason, and it wasn't because the Brooklyn Nets wanted too many picks. It's because Jaylen Brown's awesome, and he fits there. He scores there. He's a guy that people forget about in Tatum's shadow as card investors. So I think his value is down now compared to what it's going to be in 6 weeks when he's Jaylen Brown again. So that's my money. I think
you're absolutely right. And I have Jaylen Brown as my money play also.
Oh, you do? Okay.
It's really driven by the data. So I'm just going to back you up here.
Yeah.
237 cards. He's down 45% over the last year with a sales volume increase of over 75%. Now the cards to buy here would be his 2016 Prism Blue Wave out of 99 PSA 10. That's going to be harder to buy. It's a pop 15, but it's down 81% to $521 from over $2,100 a year ago. His 2016 Prism Silver PSA 9 with a pop 54 is a little bit easier to find. It's down 77% to just over $66, down from $293 over just a year ago. So this is what we're talking about here with how to make money basketball card investing on the Basketball Card Strategy Show and the Hoops and Cards podcast. So I like your Jaylen Brown call. For those of you who have listened to me before, I don't love Jaylen Brown as a player, but he's my money play here just based on the data. And I agree with what Gary said, just in terms of, there's no denying what he can do on the court.
I think he's going to be on the next 5 All-Star teams, the next 5 years. There's not a lot he doesn't do on the court. So
There you go. Gary's a believer. Just a quick hello to Oh My Shoes. Good morning, Oh My Shoes. Forgot your AirPods this morning. So you're at work. This is relevant for those of you who listen all the time. Oh My Shoes chimes in, and he's the one who is at work listening to us. So I think he's struggling with the forgetting of the AirPods because he's at work. So maybe he's blasting us from.
Should we whisper? Should we talk more quiet for him, Paul?
Maybe we should. All right. Oh My Shoes. Thank you for listening. I don't know how to talk quietly. My family tells me that. Gary, who's your sneaky player to watch in Boston?
I want to preface this pick and about Max Strus and say, I think because of this show, and we want to give you guys value, and you're asking about a lot of these players, we are picking a guy from each team in each category, but that doesn't mean that you have to go buy them or that we even recommend that. Like,
that's true.
If I have to buy a Celtic, like if you said, hey, Gary, go to the dollar box, pull out some Celtics. I'm looking at Grant Williams. I think that guy showed us a taste of what he can do in the playoffs. And there was a short-term pop there. I made some money on Grant Williams's game with 8 3-pointers, just selling his cards that day or that evening. And then also, that night, I bought a couple of autos of his and sold them 3 days later and made triple what I paid. And it wasn't a lot of money, but it was like Grant Williams is a guy you can still buy rookie autos cheaply. And again, they love that he plays a complete game. He plays defense. He shoots threes. He's young. He's in that same age bracket as Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. He's going to be around a while. And I think this year they're going to give him more shots, more minutes. I thought about Peyton Pritchard, but they just added Malcolm Brogdon to the point guard rotation, so I didn't go there.
There we go. That's perfect segue because the president, Malcolm Brogdon, is my sneaky player to watch. Comes over in a trade from the Pacers. He was injured last year, only played in 36 games, but he averaged 19 points, 5.9 assists, 5.1 rebounds in 33 and a half minutes. He's not flashy, doesn't have the high draft capital, and he's already 29 years old. So I'm not really super high on him, but you can make some money on him. Over 56 cards, he's down 30% with a sales volume increase of 19% over the last year. His 2016 Prism Silver PSA 10 is a pop 123. That's down 73% to $53, down from $195.
Sold.
Plenty of room for upside. You can make money on a guy like Malcolm freaking Brogdon. His 2016 Prism Base PSA 10 is a pop 149. Down 63%. That's $18.50 right now, down from $50.18 right now, which is that's a perfect just flip right there. Malcolm Brogdon, the president, coming in over Peyton Pritchard. We had the same thought process there. So I'm going to jump into my Milwaukee Bucks, and some of these are a little bit obvious. Like Gary said a couple of times, I mean, we got to define these. Like money plays are plays we think you can make money on. Sneaky plays, player to watch, are a little bit more risky, but we still think you can maybe make money on those. Some of these are obvious, some of these are not, because we got to go through every team. The money play is Giannis. It's got to be Giannis. I love Giannis. He's pretty much always been in my top 5 over across all potential cards to buy, including non-sports cards. I mean, sports card investment report at nooffseason.com, Giannis is number 4. He's been in the top 5 almost the entire existence of nooffseason.com. Over 1,200 cards, he's down 17% over the last year. There's a few that I recommend you guys check out. There's a 2020 Spectra Color Blast SSP PSA 10. It's only pop 10 though, so it's going to be hard to find. But this is down 64%. It's $3,200 down from $3,200 down from $9,000 a year ago. His 2013 Select number 15 draft selections purple out of 99 PSA 10 is only a pop 27. That's down 57% to 1725, down from 4K. And then there's more easier cards to find would be his 2013 Select number 15 draft selection Silver BGS 95, down 49%. Also much easier to find is his 2013 Hoops, which a lot of people are familiar with, but the red back PSA 10 is a pop 183. That's down 49% from $825 down to $422 right now. So you can double your money on a lot of Giannis cards that are pretty easy to go out and buy right now. Just real quick, Gary, I'll let you jump in with your Bucks here in a sec, but my sneaky player to watch is Marjon Beauchamp, the rookie, 21 years old from the G League Ignite, 6'7".
Oh my word!
Pick. He has some investable cards, some Leaf metal rookie autos. If you want to go check them out on eBay, this is a stretch, guys. I'm not gonna lie, this is a stretch. But we're picking 2 players from every team, and I'm not into Grayson Allen anymore. He was my guy last year from the Bucks.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna do it. There's no real other Bucks that I'm into. Maybe excited to see who Gary picks as a sneaky player to watch, just to see if it was the other guy that I was thinking about on the Bucks. Gary, who are your Bucks?
Giannis might be the best long-term investment in cards, period. Any sport. Like, seriously. What is that guy going to do in the next 10 years? What has he already done? And how affordable? I can't believe his cards are as down as you said they are. Like,
yeah.
And yeah, last week I was at a show and I saw a raw prestige Giannis rookie. I immediately traded for it and sent it to PSA. Like, I don't even care what it grades. I'm like, I want to add rookies that are affordable of the second greatest player of our generation. So anyway, my sneaky pick, it's sneaky in cards. He's a name everybody knows. I didn't want to go Jordan Nwora. I stayed away from. I was
wondering, that's who I stayed away from.
Yeah, I stayed away from Marjon and other rookies from that class just because I don't know when Panini's finally going to come out with this year's, rookies and cards. And even when they do, they'll be overpriced when they first drop. So I'm going with a guy who I think is one of the most underrated players in the NBA, a 3-time All-Star, NBA champion, gold medalist, a guy that can do it all. And he carried the Bucks to the finals when Giannis was injured off and on last season, like 2 seasons ago. So it's Chris Middleton.
Yes.
And that's a Chris Middleton silver auto that I got for $13 last week. Wow. And I'm like, why is a Chris Middleton silver auto so stinking cheap?
What year is it?
This is not his rookie. I'm sorry if I said rookie. This is 2018 Prism. Okay. But like, if you want an investment or a cheap investment in guys like him or any of the guys we mentioned, autographs cards are down and they're at least affordable, but those will hold their value and go up quicker as people search for them. But no, Chris Middleton, guys, is if he returns to full health, and they have no reason to expect otherwise. He's like, if you look at what he did during the finals run and during that whole season, and he's been doing it for 5 years, he is a 22 to 25 point scorer. He'll get 7 rebounds and 5 or 6 assists, and he's clutch as heck. Like he made so many big shots. So Milwaukee fans know what they have. And Chris and Giannis are close. Like they're not going to go anywhere. And Giannis knows he's not a champion or an MVP without a guy like that to draw the defense and be an outside threat that Giannis just isn't. So he's one of the reasons I would say Milwaukee is going to challenge Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Milwaukee's going to win the Eastern Conference, man. They're going to win Eastern Conference.
I don't know, man. Malcolm Brogdon.
Sorry about the Cavs. The Cavs. I'm rooting for the Cavs too, but Milwaukee's my team. Well, Detroit's my team, but I have to say they're not there yet.
Eventually.
However, speaking of Detroit, Chris Middleton is in a phenomenal looking Detroit Pistons practice uniform in his 2012 Panini Prism rookie card. You can get the Prism PSA 10 2012 Chris Middleton for about $100, $110 right now on eBay. There's 12 people watching some of these cards. There's also some up for auction, 99-cent auctions and stuff. I would get in on those if you're a believer in Gary's thesis on Middleton. I think it's a great call. All right, so before Gary gives us his Philadelphia 76ers, yes, Vijay Patel. This is an audience participation show. We're trying to go as quickly as we can, but we take audience questions. Vijay, you are the man. You've been very active on the show and DMing me on Instagram. I appreciate that. You have a question about Boston. Go ahead and ask it. But Gary, in the meantime, Gary's gonna talk to us about the Philadelphia 76ers.
The money play for the Sixers is obvious. It's Joel Embiid. He's going to have another MVP season, and he's in his prime, and his cards are down, not sharply down, but down enough that I would buy in. I don't normally recommend centers, Paul, as an investment, but Embiid and Jokic are two awesome exceptions as short-term and long-term plays. And the thing about Embiid, you've got the short-term opportunity where, like, do you think he's going to be in the MVP race? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Do you think Philly's going to be one of the top 4 teams in the East? Yeah.
Yep. They're going to lose to Milwaukee, but they're going to be in one of the top 4 teams in the East.
Right. Bucks and 6, but Embiid's still going to make a run, and his cards are going to go back up. If you look at his, market movers, or if you look at his trends over the last 12 months, that trends along with the NBA season. And I did some research on these because I'm looking at what do I want to buy in the next 8 to 12 weeks. And I'm like, I wasn't thinking Embiid, but I should be. Embiid and Joker.
Yep.
As far as what do you want? The best upside or the
sneaky? Just calling it a sneaky player to watch.
Let me check what I had for Philly because it's too easy for me to say Tyrese Maxey all the time.
No problem. While you're doing that, I'll just say Embiid is my sneaky player to watch. Across 244 cards, he's down 19%, volume increase of 29%. I'm not a huge Embiid guy, but I do agree with Gary on this particular take. I think we're saying the same things. He's got 2014 Prism Purple die cut out of 139 PSA 10 is down 77%. It's going to be hard to find. It's only a pop 19, but it's $461 down from $2,000. But then an easier card to find would be his 2014 Select Concourse Silver PSA 10 pop 137. Ooh. It's down 66% to $220, down from $650. So I think that's a realistic one. People can make money on Embiid early on in the NBA season, not even having to wait till he wins the MVP, to be honest. We'll see.
All right, so my sneaky pick for Philly, and I contemplated Isaiah Joe because he's a young, shiny prospect at times. I contemplated Paul Reed like everybody does, and I said I wouldn't waste my time on either of those guys. Investability, there's a lot of talk about Embiid. Maxey is one of my favorite players in the entire league. I am collecting and investing heavily in Tyrese. But the sneaky play, risky play here for me, James Harden. Which James Harden are we going to get this season? We don't know. But those rookies are old. His rookie cards are older, right? 2009. A little harder to find. Harder to find a good one, a decent one. But his values are beaten down, somewhat because the market is, and somewhat because he didn't have a great year last year. There's all the drama in Brooklyn, and will he get traded? And then he came to Philly, and he wasn't the old James Harden. And I know he dropped 100 pounds and told us to tweet that, but okay, right. The risk is, which James Harden are we going to get? Number one, and number two, if you saw the last 3 months of that season, you would say James needs to become less and Tyrese needs to become greater. As 100%. Far as the focus in the offense, James is guardable now. He wasn't 4 years ago. Now
James is the number 3 player on that team, and I agree with you that he is a sneaky player to watch. I had him on my notes as well because across 350 cards over the last year, he's down 50% with a volume increase of 58%. The cards that I would target would be his 2009 Topps base PSA 10. It's a pop 208, down 76%.
Wait. James Harden PSA 10, pop 208?
Yeah, on the Topps base.
That's a Hall of Fame, probably.
Yeah, pop 208 on the PSA 10. It's down 76%. It's $688. It used to be a year ago, $2,888.88 is what it sold for. So that's a big opportunity. And then the 2009 Topps Chrome out of $999 in a PSA 9 is going to be harder to get, but it's actually less money, probably because it's a PSA 9. But Topps Chrome numbered out of $999 is going to limit the pop anyway. It's pop 91, down 75%, $556, down from $2,231.35 a year ago. So To me, the Philadelphia 76ers are huge in opportunity right now. My money play is Maxey. I don't care if it's obvious. Across 430 cards, he's down 7%, so he's still hot. But the 2020 Donruss Choice PSA 9 is down 75%. It's $26 in a PSA 9, down from 102. But his 2020 Prism Red Ice SGC 10 is down 70%, and it's a sick card. $76 right now, down from $250. So Maxey, like, he's actually less risky, I think, than Embiid and Harden. But all three of them have a lot of upside. So, all right, Gary went first on the Sixers. So I'm going to go first on the Raptors. My money play is Scotty Barnes. Believe it or not, it seems like the data is saying people have forgotten about him a little bit. He's down 19% over 83 cards. The cards that I would target that are down would be the 2021 Donruss Choice PSA 10, down 53%. And then the 2021 Prism base PSA 10 is down 40%. That one hasn't been out as long. It's $136.25, down from $227. But it's a pop 34, probably because it's relatively new. But I mean, go get base PSA 10s and have them graded right now for $22 at PSA.
Right.
The other thing to do, right? So, and then sneaky player to watch. I've actually got two of them. So let me, like, since I have two, why don't you give me all of your Raptors? And then I'll give you my Raptors sneaky plays players to watch. And the Raptors are so freaking deep that we might just have all players.
They are. Yeah. I don't love Scotty Barnes in the short term. I love him long term, and I like what you're saying about get affordable rookie lasers or rookie parallels and get those graded. That's the play for him right now. I think some of his other stuff is. I mean, he's one of the most expensive rookies still. And he's on a team he's going to be in a lineup with 5 starters that can score 20 points a night. Gary Trent Jr., Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, and a healthy OG Anunoby is unguardable. And so those 5 guys, and then they've got a good bench. You're right. They're very deep. But my money play, again, I lean towards what cards are really down for players that are really on fire, and Pascal Siakam is that guy. So just like Chris Middleton, a guy that's lesser known to sports cards in general. So I'm not betting the market with him. I'm betting the player and seeing some of his prices on PSA 10 silvers from 2016. Any autograph card of Siakam is a steal. Most people don't know he was all NBA again last year. I think 3rd team, even though he missed 20 games. They run the offense through him and through VanVleet. They don't through Scotty Barnes, but Scotty gets enough of his own opportunities. He's a beast. The lesser known are the risky guys. I believe I said, Malachi Flynn. And there he is, because VanVleet breaks down off and on throughout the season, and they need a guy who can run the offense, hit threes, and he's coming into, I think, his 3rd season. So I like him. I thought about Precious Achiuwa. I thought about OG because coming back from injury, and most people don't realize how good he is. But I just went with Flynn and said, if I'm going to buy any Raptors, this is me not telling you guys what to do. I just like Pascal Siakam, overall.
I had a feeling he was going to be your guy, and I love that you tout him. I think there's opportunity there as well. So my 2 Raptors sneaky plays, hard to pick, but Flynn was one of mine. So it's a super small sample size, but I like his autos. He's got some autos that are very affordable, but then he also has his other stuff is super cheap. Like his optic lime green out of 149 SGC 10 is only $15. His 2020 Prism Silver SGC 10. Listen to this. His 2020 Prism Silver SGC 10 is only $6.50. Prism Silver SGC 10. His 2020 Optic Choice 179. I don't have a grade on this, so it's got to be a high grade though. Is only $8.08 the last sale. So I think VanVleet is he was an all-star. He's a great player. I just see him as a guy that like will get beat out at some point, and Malachi Flynn being a first round pick in 2020 would be the next man up. So we'll see. My other guy was Gary Trent Jr. only because like I'm staying true to my pick. He's been someone that I've loved. He used to be like in the top 10 on the Sports Card Investment Report just because he was so cheap, and he still is relatively cheap. So he's down 43% over the last year. He's got more people are buying him over the last year, though, at a 114% volume increase. He's got the Duke fan base, starting wing there in Toronto. I think they play him at the 2 guard most of the time. His PSA 10s in like an optic pink velocity out of 79 from 2018. He's obviously in the Blazers uniform, but the 2018 Prism Ruby Wave PSA 10, these are down 89 and 87%. These are like cards that you can get. The Prism Ruby Wave PSA 10 you can get for $26. It used to be $200 a year ago. So Gary Trent like used to be $200. Like people were buying him. It's Gary Trent Jr. It's not like a big name.
Right.
You can get him now for just 23% of what his price was a year ago. So Optic Shock PSA 10 down 79%. That's a $12.62 card right now. Last year at this time it was $59. So there's opportunities.
You're saying PSA 10 cards, that's like cheaper than the cost to grade it.
Yes, much cheaper. Now, will this be $12.62 like after the Raptors' first few games? Definitely not if he plays well. So that's why we're saying like you probably want to buy these cards now for so cheap and then get them listed immediately.
That's a great point.
At least in a buy it now format. And then even like a 99-cent auction starting the week, the week building up to the NBA season is just huge hype everywhere for everybody. So.
Yep. Paul, can I add about those 3 guys? First of all, Van Vliet, Malachi Flynn, and Gary Trent Jr. Those are the kind of guys that if you're at a show or at a shop, ask a dealer, ask a seller to throw a card in on a deal that may already be even. Like I got this Malachi Flynn autograph optic silver in a trade that I just said, hey, could you throw this one in? It was in his $5 box. It's a Malachi Flynn silver auto. Of course he's going to throw it in. He doesn't care. He wants to make
he doesn't
the deal.
care. That's a great call.
Right. And the second thing is about Van Vliet, like his 2018. This is his first Prism. And it, doesn't say RC on it. And yet it's the Fred Van Vliet. It's kind of considered his rookie. Right. And
that's exactly right. I did a lot of research on that last year, and there's really not a Fred Van Vliet Prism rookie. I mean, there's his rookie, his only true like rookie card is in a college uniform. So that is the best, most investable card, the one that you held up in terms of just that set. Out
of a $1 box, man. People don't know. They don't know.
Love it. They don't know. That's why they got to listen. They got to consume the content of Hoops and Cards and the Sports Card Strategy Show, Basketball Card Strategy Show. Oh, my shoes. Don't worry that you're missing the show at work right now live, because obviously you're still commenting, which is great. And, this is on YouTube for you to make a comment, and also Apple and Spotify. So you can definitely let us know what you need from us in the comments, and we will answer. So, all right, Chicago Bulls. I forget. I'm just going to jump right in back into the flow here to move this along. Chicago Bulls, my money play. This is hard. I don't love the Bulls, so I'm not necessarily saying go out and do any of this, but since we're going around the league, Ayo Dosunmu is my money play because I'm not as big Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan believer, and maybe Gary can convince me otherwise. And Lonzo Ball is out, so I'm avoiding Lonzo Ball right now.
Like the plague.
Someone's got to play point guard in Chicago, and this guy's still super cheap. 2021 Donruss Choice SGC 9.5 for $16. 2021 Donruss base PSA 10 down to $28 from $29.99 over the last, I think this is over the last 180 days. So Ayo Dosunmu is my money play. That's kind of a crazy money play, but that's where I'm going. And then my sneaky player to watch has got to be Patrick Williams, coming back from a season-ending injury a year ago. Over 365 days, he's down over 196 cards, down 19%, with a sales volume increase of 1,012%. You can get him super cheap.
Dang.
So 2020 Prism base SGC 10 is down 89% from that season-ending injury. People were buying him at $45 last year. You can get that card now for $5. A $5 Prism base SGC 10. The white sparkle SSP version of that in SGC 9 is down 69%. $375 card down from $1,200, so that's a little riskier, but still a lot of room there. And then the Prism Silver, 2020 Prism Silver SGC 10. We talk about Prism Silvers a lot on the show. There's a little more upside there. It's down 62%. It's a $67 card down from a $175 card. So those are my Bulls. Gary, what do you got for the Bulls?
Can I pass on this team?
100%. There are
I'm just kidding.
That I'm completely passing on as well.
There's just so many question marks with them. Patrick Williams is a big one. I love his potential. Number 4 pick overall. I love Ayo Dosunmu's game. And I was gonna prospect him, but when the new cards dropped every set, he's one of the higher priced in comparison. And I'm influenced more by the last month or two of the season and the playoffs. And a guy that I just thought was done, Kobe White, started to make his shots and started to put up numbers. And so it would be a good debate or competition between Kobe and Ayo, even though they can share the floor, they can share the court. Which one would be a better investment? I don't know. And so I'm staying away from those guys, but I did have Kobe as my surprise pick. Or my risky pick, and I have Zach LaVine. If you said, hey, you have a $50 gift card, you have to buy a Bull with it. I'm buying Zach LaVine 2014 Raw Prism. If it's centered, great, because I think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be an MVP candidate again, but if he was, it wouldn't surprise me. And he's still 27. It's not like he's 33. It seems like he's been around forever because he won the dunk contest at 18. But he's still an all-star on a contender, and DeRozan's great too. But if in the affordable range, I like LaVine.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, LaVine's 27. He's a guy that that's the age that when you're in your prime, you really actually start to potentially become one of the best players in the league. I'm not saying that LaVine is for sure going to do that. I'm just fact checking here real quick. Yeah, he's 27.
Yeah.
That's and DeRozan's 33. So he's more on the downside. Still can play, but more on the downside. So yeah, there's going to be teams that I completely pass on as well. I got to talk about the Nets. So the Nets are next in the standings from last year. Gary's passing. I got to just say, I'm not necessarily buying these guys, but Kevin Durant is down 58%. Yeah. There is some room if you want to invest in Durant. What I would do is buy one of 2 cards or both. His 2007 Topps factory set white BGS 95 is down 80%. That's an $82 card. A year ago it was a $420 card. And then that's his rookie card that I would buy if you must play Durant. Mm-hmm. There's a cool card that's a second-year card. It's a 2008 Topps Chrome-based PSA 10, Pop 304, down 85%. It's a $92 card, down from $600. So just a couple of Durant plays. Kyrie is down 36% over 211 cards. People are buying him at a 17% increase of a clip over the last year. There are 2 Kyrie cards that I would sign off on if you must buy Kyrie. The harder one to find, but the one that I really, really like, actually, this is probably the one card that I would buy out of all the players that I don't really love. His 2012 Prism Autograph PSA 9 is down 67%. That's $163 down from $500. It's only a Pop 33 though, so it's going to be harder to find, but it's super cheap. That's cheap for a Kyrie rookie auto. I think $163, especially considering you've got Scotty Barnes, Evan Mobley rookie autos going for way more than that. 2012 Prism base PSA 10 Pop 903, much easier to find, is down 66%, $202 down from $590.
Wow.
So, if you must buy Kyrie or Durant, those are the cards I would look at. Gary, do you have anything to say about the Nets before I give my sneaky player to watch? And I think you probably know who it is already.
I had a Durant question for you. He's my money play, and his cards are down, and he's one of the best players, obviously of his generation. The question is, at shows recently and at card shops, I'm seeing a lot of his rookie tops out and available. And, there's the white border, the black border, the orange border. Like there's different, just the regular tops. And at times it's like $25, $30. And sometimes you can see why. Well, it's off center or something. But is the Durant raw card market that far down? And if so, is it connected to, man, there's just so many of those cards out there? Or is it connected to just the market's down and it's a great buy right now?
Yeah, the white border is like mass produced in a set. The black border there's not as many of them. It's like a 50th anniversary. I don't think it's a short print. I could be wrong, but there's just not as many of them. And then the orange border, I think, may be a short print. I could be wrong on that. But I think it goes in the order of, I think black and orange are definitely more desirable than white, just because there's less of a print run of those. I think it's a combination of factors. I think the market's down. I think it's a good time to buy basketball cards, but that's ending, like we talked about at the beginning of the show. Yeah. And I think that Durant, there's a lot of people low and upset with Durant, low on him, down on him. But I do think there's opportunity with Durant, like you're saying, because I still think he could either pop off or get traded. Either of those two things would increase his card value quite a bit.
Right.
And I do think that I agree that even though he's not necessarily always well-liked, he's one of the greatest players of all time. And he'll go down as one of the top 15, if not higher than that. So, KD's a good – is you can't forget about KD. Right. He's got to be someone that can't just be right under our noses, and we're not looking at him at all. So do you have a sleeper sneaky player to watch net that's not my guy, because you already know who my guy is? Or it could be my guy. Whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so two things about our guy. One thing before we get there, I listened to a podcast yesterday where they were debating Ben Simmons as a buying opportunity. And I just want to say, why? Why? Here's a guy that wasn't playing well the last time we saw him on the court. He wouldn't take a layup because he was afraid to miss it. He sat out most of last year, and he could have come back and played for Brooklyn in the playoffs and didn't. I'm just saying, I've got better things to do with my money than invest in a guy who doesn't know who he is or where he fits. And he has a lot to prove to me, but I guess I've just moved on from him and most of Brooklyn. I was hoping that our guy, I want to say I guess
can be our guy.
Yeah, it's not TJ Warren returning from injury and jacking threes. Who's your risky play?
My guy is Cam Thomas, of course.
Right?
I've talked about him as almost as much as we talk about Darius Garland, but there's not much on him in market movers. But I love the dude. 27th pick overall in the 2021 draft, 8.5 points per game as a rookie in just a really weird situation. I think he's a true scorer that can play both guard positions. And he's super cheap, high-end autos on eBay. Just can't figure out why they're so cheap. I want to go buy more Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas, 2021 Donruss Optic rated rookie, on-card auto, short print, $95. Buy it now. Panini Prism, silver auto, 13 hours left, one bid, $39. Now, of course, that could end up being a $200 card because a lot of people – don't bid until the last 5 minutes. But I mean, this is really achievable. 0 bids, 3 days left. Panini Prism rookie auto. It's a sticker, but whatever. $20 low bid. No one's bid yet. Again, that could be a $200 card, but I mean, why not put a bid in at $20? I like Cam Thomas. So super achievable guy, high upside.
I was hoping that they would trade Kyrie and Cam would be a starter this year because he's proven to them that he's ready. My concern with buying Cam right now is I have to ask, how long do I want to tie that money up for? Yeah. Because I don't see him getting starters minutes until they move Kyrie. And not that they play the exact same position, but you guys know Kyrie's more of a 2 than a 1. He's more of a shooter. Let me dribble and shoot, and not a facilitator of an offense apart from him driving to the basket. Like, all that to say, Cam's the same way. I want to shoot the ball. I want to score. He can score at will. But when is he going to get that chance? If you think it's this year, then by all means buy in. If you don't, and you're right, I think they're still gonna blow up the Nets. It's just a matter of when. That's my feeling. I don't think they just all of a sudden love each other and forgive each other. And I think they're staying out of necessity because they didn't get an offer of 10 first-round picks for KD. Like, yeah.
Yep.
So
I agree. I think it's still TBD what's going to happen in Brooklyn. So I'm a little bit hesitant to buy in, but there's still opportunity there if you guys want to take a chance. All right, Gary, I think we're going to get through the Eastern Conference, and then maybe we'll see if we can fly through the West in rapid speed, or if we want to save that for next week.
Your call, man. We could do either one. Up to you.
All right. Cool. So money play and sneaky play to watch for Atlanta Hawks. Who do you got?
Money play is Trae Young.
Yep.
Let's not make this any harder than it needs to be.
Absolutely.
Fantastic player to invest in short and long term. Because of the transition and not knowing his role and what it's going to look like, although I know he's going to be a plus to the team, is Dejounte Murray. And that's not sneaky as in, ooh, we didn't know that name. It's sneaky as in, it's a mystery to see what is he actually going to produce when he's not the go-to guy on offense, and Trae Young is. It's also sneaky, what are his cards going to do as a result of that? Are people just going to buy more Trae because they're winning more? Probably, But one of the risks or one of the possibilities is, hey, when Trae's not on the court, or if Trae gets hurt, guess who's running the show exclusively on a team that has some firepower? I like Dejounte. I think Onyeka Okongwu has a ton of potential.
I think I agree with everything that you just said about the Atlanta Hawks. Trae is down 47%. The 2018 Prism Red out of 299 PSA 10 is a pop 116. That's down 80%. That's a $2,000 card. A year ago, it sold for $10K. I had Dejounte Murray also as my sneaky player to watch. Almost averaged a triple-double last year. He's only 26. I like his Optic Hollow PSA 10, down 60%. His 2016 Prism Silver PSA 8 is any 2016 Prism Silver Dejounte Murray, I would probably buy raw too, as long as it's under $40. If you can get that, I think that would be a good play and grade. Do we have to even ask you about the Cleveland Cavaliers? We probably do, but I've got Darius Garland as my money play. And this is not a real sneaky player to watch, but I do have some Garland cards that I would recommend. But then the sneaky player to watch is not the player, but more so the cards. Evan Mobley. There are 2 Evan Mobley cards that are interesting to me, and they're anti what I normally talk about, which this whole show is kind of taken on that theme. I normally talk about more of your contenders rookie autos, your Prism Silver rookie autos, you're kind of not super unattainable high-end stuff, but you're more high-end stuff than your base. And so this entire show is kind of taking a theme of what's more achievable, kind of quick flippy to make money this season if you buy now. So Garland actually has a 2019 Select Concourse set. One is a T-Mall Red Wave that's down. That's a good card. That's higher end. The higher pop count is more easier to find would be the Select Concourse PSA 10, but that's still only a top pop 224. That's down 74%. That's $11 down from $41. There's actually, Gary, I don't know if you probably know about this. You probably know everything about all Darius Garland cards. 2019 Prism Photo Variation Darius Garland. So BGS 9.5 is down 67%. It's $25 down from $75. There's a 2019 Select Concourse Disco PSA 10 also that's down 64%. So I think those are interesting Garland cards that I've never really talked about that I wanted to throw out there. Mobley, I just have his Don Russ base PSA 10 2021, and then his 2021 Hoops base PSA 10. Again, not normally cards that I talk about, but those are each down. The Hoops is down 75%. The Don Russ is down 48%. Some of you may say, well, that's because other sets have been released that are more desirable, but still super low price cards and a guy that is likely to perform at a high level. And so, Gary, do you have anything to add about your Cavs? I took over your team there.
Hey, you did. I love the Cavs. In fact, anybody that listens to Hoops and Cards podcast, I talk about the Cavs a lot. Some of it's, great opportunities in buying cards as well, like Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley. Darius Garland is my best play because his prices are down and because I think he's going to be an all-star again this year and for the foreseeable future. He's grown a ton as a leader in the offseason. Like, that's the word here from Cleveland, is that he's been getting the team together in California and in Tennessee at different times over the summer to work out, train together, play together. And it was awesome when Donovan Mitchell showed up and was a part of all of those Instagram things they post. So Darius Garland's the man. And I can't believe the steals on his cards. I've been buying or trading for autos because he doesn't autograph a lot, and trading up. Like, I've been trading some of my lesser valuable Darius. I want to say Darii, like if I'm trading more than one.
The Darii, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm trading multiple Darii to get autographs of Darius Garland. And Upper Deck, Goodwin Champions, you might normally not be as drawn to them as the popular brands, but for Darius, you should be. And the autograph deals. And also in a trade, I can't believe this, about, 2 months ago, I got you mentioned the Prism variation of his rookies. I got a Prism variation Disco Darius Garland PSA 10 that I just knew I wanted the card. I didn't realize like the comps at the time were 300, 350. I was like, dang,
that's amazing. Great.
I'm holding on to that for a while. So Darius, Evan as an investment, I think better long-term, or like you said, buy cheaper parallels and grade them. That's what I've been doing. I got a green yellow laser hollow that you can get on eBay for $10, like his Don Russ. And somehow it got a PSA 10. And now it's like a almost $200 card to a lot of people. So I'm like, dude, but I'm keeping it because it's Evan Mobley. He's my guy. Should I sell it? I mean,
I would list it. I would list it in 1 month. I would list it 1 month from now. Basically. Yeah, I would, just because I think there's going to be some hype, and I think he's going to be like, someone that people are excited about around that time frame. And I think that's a great move. I have done the same thing with just base cards and having them graded. I sent a bunch of them into PSA at the $18 a card level during the national promo pricing, and I got a couple Jalen Green Hoops base cards back in PSA 10. How
much were those going for?
They're going for $60-$70 right now.
Okay, yeah, I love Jalen Green.
I was all in $18 on each of those, so that's not bad. And then there's just $1 for the card. And then Evan Mobley, same thing. I got, but I got a 9 back on Evan. So just grading's back. So there's a lot that can be done with these.
Yeah, they're at $22 now for bulk submissions. PSA, $22.
Right. $22. Do it. We're gonna get through the East in this episode, so we've got a handful of teams to go, and then we'll be back probably next week with the West. So Charlotte Hornets up next. Gary, who you got in Charlotte?
LaMelo.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I got.
LaMelo's down 54% across 925 cards over the last year, but people are buying him at a 356 more rapid rate.
Wow.
He's wearing jersey number 1 this year, which I think could be notable. I don't know. He's been number 2. I don't know why. I just think that's kind of cool. There's 3 particular LaMelo cards that I really like. 2020 Select Courtside Silver PSA 10 is down 89%. 2020 Select Courtside SGC 10 is down 85%. That's a much more achievable card, $60 down from $400. 2020 Optic Hollow PSA 9 is down 85%. To $71 down from $464. I don't have anyone else in Charlotte that I like either, but I did love Miles Bridges, obviously, until he had some off the court serious issues.
Yeah, he's my risky pick. He's my risky
pick also. So I don't know if you buy him or not, but I will say that his 2018 Prism Silver SGC 10 is down 94% from a year ago. It's a $22 card. It sold for $350 at the beginning of last NBA season. And his 2018 Optic Hollow PSA 10 is down 91%. It's a $27 card, down from $305. So if you somehow have an inside track on Miles Bridges' life, and if he's going to get back on the court and do something, do some insider trading here, because he's down in the 90%.
And I think there's a parallel. It's not exact, but because it's close to where I live, Desean Watson is a player with, in the news for lots of charges and allegations and suspensions. And a lot of people are angry at him and mad at the Browns for even getting him right now. But I'm interested to see what Deshaun's card market does in December. If he returns to the field and is, the good version of Desean Watson, what he can do, to see if his cards go up, like how quickly are people to forgive and become fans again? Because we are, as much as we care about what a player does off the court, we're also moved by what he does on the field and on the court too. So I'm curious to see if people forgive Desean Watson. And I know what Miles did. Maybe more severe. Like it's a different category. It's a different conference. I get all that, but we have a generally forgiving society over time, and I do think Miles Bridges. But I'm going to watch, like I said, Desean, and if his values rebound quickly, Miles is in a similar category of all-star or borderline all-star, who a lot of people think has a great future. He's 25, maybe, and is electrifying on a playoff contender. But in the meantime, LaMelo is the best bet.
Yeah, good call. Great analysis. All right, New York Knicks, who you got?
The Knicks. Oh, boy, do I have to pick one? I think the Knicks.
Miles Bridges is only 24 still.
Is he really?
But anyway, you don't have to pick Knicks. You can pass. I'm passing on 2 Eastern Conference teams
really
coming up.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I do have players for every single team, and I think what Jalen Brunson did last season was not a fluke. I think I part of it's because I actually watched him play and watched his game, and that guy played a lot and stepped up well when Luka was hurt, when Luka was off the floor, and he was part of making Dallas a better team in reality than they are on paper. Like, they didn't have a lot of super talented guys that you're like, oh shoot, how are we going to guard them? But Jalen became that guy. And I think him going to New York and having the ball in his hands, like get away from this offense where it's running through Julius Randle for some reason. Like that guy's another guy to watch, because now he doesn't have to carry the load. Jalen's a better player than most people know about. So he's a guy that I like, but I know his cards have spiked, a couple times in the last 6 months. My sleeper pick or my risky pick is, and this was reluctant here too, is Obi Toppin.
Okay.
Part of it's because I don't know what kind of minutes he's going to get. They could put him in as starting power forward, this week, or he could just be buried on the bench behind Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, and all those guys. But his time is either now or really soon, and he's 27? Like, he's an older dude. Just because he's in the league young in his 3rd year, he's still older. Graduated older. I love Emmanuel Quickly. Love him on so many levels. He's not going to get the chance this year because of Brunson. So, yeah,
we're talking about all different Knicks, which is I guess good and bad.
You got Grimes? Are you giving me Quentin Grimes?
Yeah, he's your guy. So Toppin's 24, but you're right. That is older for a 30. Okay. He's going into his 30. That is older.
Oh, he's going on 35. I'm telling you.
Okay, all right, there we go. He's 24 going on 35. My money plays RJ Barrett. I think he's actually the face of the Knicks moving forward after they didn't get Mitchell, which I know you love the fact that they didn't get Mitchell. Across 607 cards, he's down 46%, but a sales volume increase of 35%. The card that I would target would be his 2019 Select Prism, Select Premier Level Silver PSA 10. It's down 78%. So if you want to make money on a New York Knick, I think that card would be it for me. But the sneaky play player to watch, all credit to you for this, because you brought this guy up on a previous episode of the Basketball Card Strategy Show. Quentin Grimes, I dug into him after that. 25th pick overall in 2021. A lot of hype around him this offseason. The Knicks refused to trade him. 6 reasons why Quentin Grimes should be more involved in the Knicks rotation. Knicks balked on including Quentin Grimes into trade to acquire Donovan Mitchell. These are all headlines from the New York national media that cover the Knicks over the offseason. And his rookie autos are just very, very cheap. That, he's very, very affordable, his high-end stuff. And I just think he kind of falls into the Cam Thomas category. I've gravitated to Cam, but Quentin Grimes is another version of what we're talking about with why I like Cam. So definitely wanted to mention him. I'm going to totally pass on the next 2 teams up in the standings. I want no Washington Wizards, and believe it or not, I want no Indiana Pacers. Sorry to Tyrese Halliburton, Chris Duarte, whoever else you got in Indiana. I just don't. It's not that I don't like Halliburton as a player. It's not that I don't like, but I do hate the Pacers because I am a Detroit Piston. So, I don't know if you remember.
Yes.
November 2004.
The fight, right? The fight.
The Malice at the Palace.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I didn't think the Pacers were still relevant enough to hate, but
that's true. Good point.
Forgiveness is hard, right?
The Pistons are either, but I'm passing on the Wizards and the Pacers. But what do you got for those 2 teams?
I don't like buying any Wizards. If I had to say a thing, it was Bradley Beal, Denny Avdija. Yeah. And I don't like any of those plays, but Beal, I mean, if he returns and scores 30 a game, we'll talk about him again because he did that.
The Wizards suck. Let's just go on to the Pacers.
Hey, Golden State kicked their butts in Tokyo this morning. Let's move on.
Exactly.
It was a 7-point, just destroyed them.
Good morning, Toa. Good to see you.
Morning.
Hop on in if you have any questions. Gary and I are trying to get through the East.
Oh, Pacers. Yeah,
Pacers,
right.
Yeah.
You need a Pacers play. Well, I am very high on Tyrese Halliburton. I think he's going to be an all-star this year. Or at least all-star reserve. He's going to be a well-known player by February, and he could be this year what Darius Garland was last year.
Wow.
His game is, well, he's already kind of expensive though. Like his cards are more expensive than Garland's, but yes. At the same time, Indiana sucks as a team. They don't know what they're doing roster-wise, and my risky plays on their team are like 2 or 3 of the same kind of guy, a young, agile big man who has potential, Jalen Smith and Isaiah Jackson, and they're cheap. They're dollar box throw-ins or $5 autographs. Isaiah Jackson had, if you look at February and March, had some very big games for them, and then he got hurt. And it just seemed like the revolving door between Isaiah, Jalen Smith, Goga, like they've got all these bigs that I don't know if they're going to commit to one of them and say, go attack the basket, so I don't know what they're going to do. I would just buy Halliburton and call it a day.
Yeah, I think Halliburton's the only one that I would buy. And I'm not saying don't buy him. I'm just saying I don't think he's a buy just because I do think he's a little bit overpriced. He's now, he's been in Sacramento and now he's stuck on he's basically on the East version of Sacramento. So he hasn't, I know people are high on him as a player, but just lets everybody cool it on Tyrese Halliburton, I think. I will say I do like the fact that Isaiah Jackson is from Pontiac, Michigan.
There you go.
5 minutes from where I grew up. I used to play high school basketball against Pontiac Northern and Pontiac Central, and I wonder if
Ooh.
Isaiah Jackson. We wouldn't have played at the same time, but I wonder if Isaiah.
Did you get to scout him up close?
I'm 21 years older than Isaiah Jackson, but I wonder if he played at either Northern or Central. So I'll have to look into that.
I thought you were going to say you coached him at the YMCA back in the day.
Well, I mean, I would have been there. I moved when I was 25, so it's possible that I coached a 4-year-old or met a 4-year-old Isaiah Jackson at an event in Pontiac, Michigan.
Right. Well, you say Flyers, you can get an Isaiah Jackson auto laser hollow for $5. I mean, you can get him as a throw in like Malachi Flynn.
That's why all of you should listen. You should go to hoopsandcards.com and you should subscribe to Gary's podcast, Hoops and Cards, because this is the man when it comes to the bargains for basketball cards that really actually do have potential of increasing in value. So speaking of Pontiac, Michigan, up next is my Detroit Pistons. My money play is none other than Cade Cunningham. He's actually down 25% across 109 cards. There's opportunity within his low-end stuff, like his 2021 Hoops-based PSA 10 is down 79%. But then you've got some other like kind of cards that Gary likes to talk about. The 2021 Donruss Orange Laser PSA 10 is down 58%.
Nice.
The 2021 Donruss Pink Laser PSA 10 is down 29%. So there's some like Cade's autos are super expensive, but there's some Cade cards that you can go in and actually make some good money on. Before I give my sneaky player to watch in Detroit, Gary, why don't you give me your money play and your sneaky player to watch in Detroit?
Yeah, I'm all over Cade. I agree. I'm seeing deals that, like you said, on the laser hollows and prism base. Just buy something that's centered and nice and hold on for the ride. And I think you need to decide what you want. I mean, wouldn't you agree? Detroit's not going to be a playoff team, and Cade probably won't make the All-Star team in his second year.
Yep. Here's what I would do. I just thought of this. I am literally going in December. I am going to buy as many raw prism base Cade Cunningham rookies for as low as I can possibly buy them for.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have them graded, and then they will rise in value because I totally agree. He is not going to peak for a long time, but when he does peak, it's going to be huge. I think everybody likes Cade, and I just think it's going to be a little bit slower, but he's going to get there. Toa says Halliburton's going to have a good year because there's no one else there, and that's also a good point. So back to Detroit. Who do you have as your sneaky player to watch, Gary?
Yeah, I agree with your Halliburton comment because he's like Dejounte Murray at the Spurs last year. He can do all the things, like run the team, score, rebound, shoot threes, create his own shots. I love him. So the Detroit sneaky pick for me, I would go with Saddiq Bey. He's the one guy that I would say alongside Cade, who is going to produce points this season. It's Saddiq Bey. Ivy might in the future. Marvin Bagley might like every third game. Killian Hayes might get some minutes, and do some good things. But I think it's got to be Saddiq Bey, and you could be talking about a guy averaging 20 points, or close to it this season. And his cards are dirt cheap compared to what I think they should be. That's a guy where you could get prism numbered cards for a steal. I've been just a little stockpile of like pink cracked ice and red cracked ice and just $2 or $3 deals I get on Saddiq Bey that when he becomes a regular scorer in the NBA, I'll grade those. Grade those or just flip them raw. Like he's good.
Totally agree. He was my guy too. It's hard to go with anybody else there. For me personally, I think we're aligned. He's down 4%, but sales volume increase of 3,300%. So people are buying him more, and his cards are still. That just means, like, for those of you who don't understand what I believe that statistic means, is I look for guys that are down in price but increase in sales volume, and so that means that there's more of a market. There's more people buying. So if you can still get them cheap, it just means that when you do sell, there's more of a market to buy, which is what you want, especially if you want to list your cards for auction, which is what I like to do on eBay. The 2020 Prism Silver Sadiq Bey would be a great buy right now. In PSA 9, it's about $20. So raw, it's going to be about that or a little bit less. And I like that. I would try to get it less, obviously. I'd try to get it for like $5 raw if I could. But yeah, so Orlando Magic.
Paul, can I add one comment about Sadiq real quick?
Yeah.
And just Detroit overall. Guys, a player growing in popularity can often be tied to, are they having big performances on national TV? So like looking at the national TV schedule, ESPN, ABC, from January to April, you'll see which teams are going to get more spotlight. And I was surprised to see Detroit and probably just because of Cade, like Detroit's on TNT a bit more this season. Detroit is a name coming to town, and the name is Cade Cunningham. But the production, if you're a Pistons guy,
Cade's
right?
A distributor. He's a distributor. He's going to get the ball to Sadiq and other players. So yeah, and him and Ivy are going to be fun to watch in that back.
Totally.
So
yeah, they're Houston Rockets of the East.
That's a great point, Gary. About nice. That's a great point though about the national TV schedule. You're the Andy Kaysen of basketball cards. Let me just say that. So that's great. No, our last team for today's show is the Orlando Magic, and there's a lot to talk about here. Next week, we're going to come back with the Western Conference. And my money play in Orlando, I have two guys. I had to have two guys because one of them doesn't really have cards yet, but Paolo. Right. Paolo. Like, let's again, like you said, about the Sixers, like, and I think one other team, the Hornets, maybe with LaMelo. Like, let's not overcomplicate the Magic either. Like, I know I'll get there in my sneaky players to watch. I've got two of those as well. A lot of people are talking about Franz Wagner in that category, but like if I'm gonna invest in the Magic, I'm just gonna wait and take all the money that I would have put into a Wagner, Suggs, or Cole Anthony card, and I'm just going to try to put it into the best Paolo Banchero card at the right time, which could actually be a year from now. But my money play is Paolo, but it's not for right now. It's probably for a year from now. Now, if you're like, okay, Paul, but that's not what you're doing on the show, fine. Cole Anthony is my money play for now. Over 310 cards, he's down 43%. Sales volume increase of 3,705%. All of this data is according to marketmoversapp.com, where you can get your first month for only $1 by using the promo code NOOFFSEASON. His 2020 Prism Silver PSA 10 is the route that I would take. Would be the most liquid card. It's down 81%. It's $120 right now, down from $620, Gary, for Cole Anthony. So that's my Orlando Magic money plays. I've got two sneaky player to watch, but I'm going to hand it over to you first. Tell me what you've got going on for the Magic, and then I'll round it out with my two guys. And they might be your two guys as well.
They might be. Orlando's a very frustrating team to think basketball cards about, because so many young prospects that we've heard good things about, or they've flashed like greatness in moments. And like, I loved Cole Anthony, and then they drafted Jalen Suggs, and I'm like, what? You had a point guard. You had Quickly. Why are you trading for Brunson? You had Cole Anthony. Why are you drafting Suggs? Like, you have these young guys that can do all the things. And Cole Anthony, everything you would say about him is true. I just am nervous about what Orlando's doing. Like, Markelle Fultz is still a thing. RJ Hampton's on the roster. Like, what are you doing? You say you draft Suggs for leadership, and then he's got a timeshare with 4 other point guards. Like, so my guy to invest in this season there is Wagner. I think he surprised everyone with how good he was last season, and it was for the whole season. And I think he's just going to build on that. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the NBA, and I don't think he's going to be the face of the franchise. I agree with you about Paolo. Better long term. If I'm saving up Paolo money for next year, I'm waiting till like 2 months after the new cards drop, because there's that initial premium people pay to be the first one to get Paolo or the first one to grade Paolo. Like, chill on that, save 50% and buy it 2 months later, right? But I agree Paolo's the best long-term play, or even next year, the best short-term play. This season, I love Wagner. I put down Suggs as highest upside because maybe they are just going to hand over the keys and Jalen Suggs will do I already called Halliburton the next Darius Garland. Darius had a terrible rookie season. So did Jalen Suggs, but their stats and their numbers and their minutes for their first years are strikingly similar. Do I think Jalen Suggs has the potential for a year 2 breakout like Darius? Yes. I don't know that it's going to happen, but I think Suggs has that potential, and so he's worth looking at. If you're an Orlando fan and want to invest in him, I don't know why you'd want to use money for Suggs instead of Maxey, but it's your life. Go ahead, do that, right? And then my risky guy, who might be one of your guys, and this is if you feel like buying lottery tickets. This is if you want to take a guy that's a risk on every possible level, but could have huge payoff. It's Jonathan Isaac. And it's the kind of risk that my friends would say that's stupid, like injury prone, like not going to get minutes with Bamba and Carter and Paolo. Like, okay, but he's still 7'3", drains threes, and plays defense, and is a blast to watch when he's on the court. But again, if he's only on the court twice a year, hey, that's the risk.
Hey,
right?
Put Isaac on the court with Bol and Mo Bamba, and you've got
it's a risk. I get it, but
of a front court.
Right? When he's healthy, he's awesome. That's the thing. You're just putting a risk in his knees, I guess.
6th overall pick in 2017. So there's the draft capital there. So I thought this is going to be a nod to my guy Toa, who's on the live stream right now. He's a Michigan State Spartan, just like me. I was thinking maybe you were going to say Gary Harris from Michigan State, who's making $13 million.
He's had his chances, man. Gary's done.
I'm messing with you. So
okay, is he your guy though?
Well, Michigan State. I mean, I loved watching him play at Michigan State, but no, he's just a role player. But Toa likes Cole Anthony as well. He wishes they would trade Suggs. No one can play the 2 guard because of the size.
Right.
Toa's in alignment with your take there, Gary, on what are the Magic doing basically everywhere. Suggs and Wagner were my sneaky player to watch. You know, Wagner's obviously got a lot of popularity in the hobby, a lot of comments on him that I've received on social. Like, why aren't you talking about him more? I like him. If people saying that to me, that's great. Gary obviously likes him as well. There's a 2021 Donruss Choice Blue PSA 10 out of 49. That's a very desirable card. Really, really low pop count there. So I like the Choice Blue just because it kind of matches the Orlando Magic. Jalen Suggs obviously has the draft capital. I think Donruss Choice PSA 10 there as well would be a good card. It's significantly less than Wagner. Suggs, the 5th overall pick, Wagner, the 8th overall pick last year. So they both have a lot of draft capital. And
can I add one more just to confuse the Orlando conversation? One more. If you said, all right, Gary, who do you think if one player from Orlando is going to make the All-Star team this season, who do you think is the most ready to be an All-Star or likely to be an All-Star? And we haven't even said his name yet. It's Wendell Carter Jr.
Wow.
Wendell Carter Jr. averaged like 18 and 10 for a chunk of last season. And in unspectacular fashion for a team that sucked, right? But he showed, I mean, there's another guy, 6th pick in the draft. Chicago traded him.
Yep.
Part of that big deal for Vucevic. But he's a guy who's carving out his role as the big man. And they let Bamba and they'll let Isaac and I think Paolo, they're gonna stretch the floor. Wendell Carter is more of a traditional, like, pound the paint, crash the boards, and he was doing things. And maybe it's because the East doesn't have a lot of great centers, but he's good.
That's a good point. A lot of young talent. 7th overall pick in 2018. Duke fan base, only 23 years old. He's got a little profile there, a little opportunity for Wendell Carter Jr. This is an interesting team, obviously. The Wagner brothers, both at 6'10", 6'11".
Chuma Okeke.
Barf because they're from Michigan, but that's okay. I'd rather have Gary Harris in there all day. Here's what I don't like about the Orlando Magic. They've got 4 guys from Michigan. Now, Xavier Simpson might not make the team. Caleb Houston, not sure what's going on with that guy. But let's get rid of the Michigan people everywhere.
Right.
Let's just go Michigan State. Right, Toa? Come on.
Ohio State, baby.
Ohio State, I'm fine with. I'm fine with Ohio State. Fine with Ohio State. Just don't like Michigan people that don't acknowledge our rivalry at
What about Jordan Poole? Are we
okay?
Teaser for next week, right?
Teaser for next week. Exception to the rule. Jordan Poole. I will come in and say I bought a $300 raw Contenders rookie ticket auto on card ball at chest for $300 from Texas Roadshow Shop in person at the National. Awesome. My co-host on the Sports Card Strategy Show, Kendall McKee, shout out, looked at me and said, Paul, I don't know if I would buy that because our boy Krim, he's only going to sell things raw that would not grade Gem Mint. I said, no. I'm going to send this to PSA at $18. Thing came back a Gemmy. So nice. I'm really, really rooting for Jordan Poole for selfish reasons this year, even though he is a Michigan Wolverine. So Toa says still waiting on a recent Michigan player to make the All-Star team. Exactly. Like, who's even Michigan's best player of all time in basketball? We know who ours is.
Chris Webber.
Yeah, but he didn't even he's not even acknowledged by the university. So you got to go somewhere else for that. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's you keep thinking about that. Come back to me next week with
Michigan State Magic Johnson or Miles Bridges.
Oh,
I got I love
the
Magic.
To that one.
I've got local roots with a Michigan State grad. You might remember is Eric Snow.
Love Eric Snow. Eric Snow's the man. Him
so
and Sean
Eric Snow,
great backcourt back in the day.
Yeah. Speaking of great backcourts, at Walsh University basketball camp in 1987, I shared the backcourt with Eric Snow, and we dominated. Nice. It was awesome. It was the one-man show. It was just everybody rebound, get it to Eric. And he was like, I thought I was watching the next Michael Jordan, right? In 7th grade, there was nothing he couldn't do. So he's my Michigan State hero. Do you remember Quentin Brooks?
I love Eric Snow. Yeah, I remember Quentin Brooks. Power forward.
Yeah. He's from Akron. Like, I got to see him play in high school. He was another kid that was like 6'9", flying and dunking. And like, how is he doing this at age 16, but Michigan State? So
that was all when Judd was still the head coach and Izzo was his #1 assistant. And Eric Snow, I think, improved his free throw shooting from like 13%. I'm exaggerating, but I think it was below 30% as a freshman and sophomore to as a junior and senior. I think he shot like 67, 70% by the time he was 60. I'll never forget that about Eric Snow. And then, of course, was actually a great pro with the Philadelphia 76ers for several years. Just a great professional. His brother Percy played in the NFL. Eric was definitely the one who exceeded expectations. Percy didn't necessarily do any of that, but could talk Michigan State for quite some time. Good stuff. All right, well, Gary, do you have anything else to add for this episode of the Basketball Card Strategy Show? Anything you want to tease for next week's show with the Western Conference, or what do you got?
I was gonna ask. We just named about 15 teams and their players. Who would you say would be the?
I think Gary kind of cut off there for a second. Let's see if we get him back.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
There we go. Gotcha. Yep.
We named 15, teams and several players from each team. Are there 2 or 3 guys that you're like, okay, of all those names we heard, here's some sneaky plays. You know what I'm saying? Who would be your top 1 or 2 of the sneaky plays to remember from the East?
Okay, so based on data, I really, really, really like Trae Young. I don't want to gloss over him, which we kind of did, and that's fine, just in the interest of time. I really think that there could be a bounce back in Atlanta this year. They got a really, really good team. I kind of believe that they're going to be a lot better with Dejounte Murray. So Trae's just got everything else lined up for him, and it's just a matter of buying the right card at the right time and then selling it at the right time. So just to really, really make this simple, I really like Trae Young. I also think LaMelo Ball falls into that same category for me. And Tyrese Maxey. I mean, I think, I could – the other 2 guys would be Giannis and Garland. I mean, I think those 5 I'm just really, really high on, and just don't need to get crazy about sleepers, even though we kind of did on this episode. My takeaways would be those 5 guys in the East. And there's guys in the West that I'm just as high on that we'll talk about next week. So there's going to end up being like, I think, a clear 10 ways to just buy the right guys at the right time and sell them at the right time. Very, very risk averse strategy, and just make money on it this year.
It's hard to argue with any of that.
And if you want to go buy Io DeSumo, be my guest.
Yeah, I think with Maxey, you're looking at a guy who we've just started to see what he can do, and not only is I think he's going to keep doing it. He has just a fire in him to improve, a fire in him to get better, and doing that where the load isn't on him like it is on Cade or LaMelo to be the guy in the town. Like the load's on Embiid, but Maxey's going to grow into this. So
absolutely. All right. Well, I got to run, everybody. This has been another great episode of the Basketball Card Strategy Show. I'm Paul Hickey with nooffseason.com. He's Gary with hoopsandcards.com, and we'll see you again next week. Gary, have a great day, man.
Thanks. You too. Good to see you, Paul.
All right. You too. Cue the rock music, as Kendall would say.